Imagine standing in the grocery aisle, staring at a wall of chocolate. You pick up a bar that promises health benefits. Maybe it says sugar-free or diabetic-friendly. You feel a flicker of hope. Finally, a way to satisfy that deep craving without paying for it later with a blood sugar spike. But here's the terrifying truth. That bar in your hand might be more dangerous for your glucose levels than a candy bar. And if you're over 60, the stakes are not just about energy crashes. We're talking about a direct line to heart disease, cognitive decline, and a metabolic breakdown that most doctors don't have the time to explain. But what if I told you that the very thing you've been told to fear could become your body's secret weapon for longevity? What if the right kind of chocolate, consumed at the exact right moment, could actually outperform prescription medications in protecting your insulin sensitivity, all without a single side effect? By the end of this documentary, you'll not only know exactly what that chocolate is, but you'll also learn a 5-part strategy that will rewire your metabolism from the inside out. And stick around for number 1, because it's the complete opposite of what the multi-billion-dollar food industry wants you to believe. And it might just be the most important decision you make for your health this decade. Let's begin. The story of chocolate and our health is a tale of two narratives. On one side, we have the industrial food complex that has stripped this ancient superfood of its life-giving compounds, replacing them with sugar, fillers, and cheap fats. On the other, we have a growing body of science that reveals chocolate's original purpose, a medicine revered by ancient civilizations, a source of vitality, and a key to unlocking a metabolic pathway that becomes crucial as we age. We are about to go on a journey through the science of cocoa flavanols, the circadian rhythms of your pancreas, and the hidden universe of your gut microbiome. And this journey isn't just about chocolate. It's about reclaiming control over a biology that is designed to thrive, but has been confused by decades of bad information. We will meet individuals who were told they could never enjoy this simple pleasure again, and witness their transformation as they learn to harness the power of a simple bean. The rules are simple, the science is profound, and the results are transformative. Let's begin with the concept that is often ignored: timing. The human body isn't a static machine. It's a dynamic orchestra following a complex rhythm dictated by the rising and setting of the sun. This internal clock, or circadian rhythm, governs everything from sleep to digestion, and critically, how efficiently your cells process sugar. As we enter our 60s, this rhythm can become muted, requiring a more precise understanding of when to eat. This brings us to the first, and perhaps most deceptively simple, strategy. Imagine your body is a sponge. In the morning, after a long overnight fast, that sponge is dry and ready to absorb. By the evening, it's saturated. Consuming sugar when the sponge is dry leads to a rapid, overwhelming absorption that floods your system. But if you wait until the early afternoon, when the sponge is a little drier again, and your body's natural cortisol levels have dropped from their morning peak, that same amount of sugar is absorbed gently and efficiently, even shuttled directly into muscle cells for fuel. A landmark 2020 study from the University of L'Aquila in Italy illustrated this perfectly, showing a 14% improvement in post-meal glucose response for older adults simply by shifting their chocolate consumption from evening to mid-afternoon. This isn't magic, it's chrononutrition. The strategy here isn't just about what you eat, but when you eat it, making that 2 to 4 p.m. window the optimal time for a small indulgence. But selecting the right time is only half the equation. The composition of what you're eating matters just as much. Here's where we venture into the microscopic world inside you. The human gut is home to a vast community of microbes that act as a second brain, influencing everything from immunity to mood and, crucially, your metabolic health. As we age, this community, the microbiome, tends to lose its diversity, weakening our metabolic fortress. This is where the next level of strategy comes in. Not all dark chocolate is created equal. You need a chocolate that does more than just satisfy a craving. It must feed the army inside your gut that fights for your glucose stability. When you find a bar fortified with a prebiotic fiber like inulin or chicory root, you're not just eating a treat. You're fertilizing the good bacteria in your colon. These bacteria feast on this fiber and produce a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. Butyrate is the primary fuel for your intestinal cells, and research has shown it dramatically reduces systemic inflammation and directly enhances the sensitivity of your insulin receptors. A 2021 clinical trial from Maastricht University Medical Center found that participants who consumed this fortified chocolate saw a 22% greater improvement in fasting insulin levels than those who ate standard chocolate. This transformation, happening at the cellular level, is like upgrading the software of your metabolism, making the hardware, your body, fitness more efficiently. Now, we can't talk about a chocolate strategy for seniors without addressing a silent epidemic: the hidden tragedy of the food industry's healthy alternatives. It's a story of good intentions gone wrong, a narrative where processed foods are masquerading as allies while they systemically dismantle your metabolic health. You see this all the time. A person over 60, wanting to do the right thing, reaches for a sugar-free chocolate bar, believing it's a safe choice. They feel virtuous, but the science tells a different story. These bars replace sugar with sugar alcohols like maltitol or isomalt, which, while technically not sugar, still raise blood glucose and often contain maltodextrin as a filler. Let that sink in. Maltodextrin has a glycemic index higher than pure table sugar. It's an invisible attack on your system. The other offenders are milk chocolate, which contains minimal cacao and is mostly fat and sugar, and white chocolate, which is devoid of any beneficial cocoa flavanols. It's metabolically identical to eating a spoonful of sugar. The food industry has profited off this confusion for decades, and millions are paying with their health. The real power, however, lies in mastering the sequence of your meals. We are taught to think of food in isolation, but the magic happens in the synergy between them. This is a psychological and physiological principle that the world's most elite athletes and longevity researchers have known for years. It's not what you eat, but the order in which you eat it. When you consume fat and protein before a carbohydrate, the fiber and fat slow gastric emptying, reducing the speed at which the sugar hits your bloodstream. This prevents a massive glucose spike and the subsequent insulin crash. The third element in our strategy applies this principle elegantly. We're looking at 85% dark chocolate, but we're not eating it alone. We're combining it with raw cacao nibs, which are packed with magnesium, a mineral that over 60% of adults over 65 are deficient in. Magnesium is the spark plug for hundreds of enzymatic reactions, including those vital for glucose metabolism. A 2017 study in diabetes care showed that those with the highest magnesium intake had a 47% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. After a high-protein dinner, Waiting 15 to 20 minutes and then enjoying this combination of chocolate and nibs isn't just a dessert. It's a strategic intervention that satisfies cravings while delivering a double dose of polyphenols and magnesium that keeps your glucose stable through the night. As we continue to refine this protocol, we must address a common and understandable fear. Many people over 60 have been told that exercise is dangerous or that they must drastically restrict their diet to see results. The truth is far more hopeful and empowering. The body has an innate, powerful mechanism for sugar control that bypasses insulin entirely. It's your muscles. When you move, your muscles contract and open up GLUT4 transporters, which act as vacuum cleaners to pull glucose out of your bloodstream. This state of non-insulin-mediated glucose uptake is at its peak immediately after you finish a walk or a light strength training session. This is the moment to strike. The fourth strategy leverages this post-exercise window, making it the perfect time for a small piece of 90% cacao chocolate. The sugar in that chocolate will be shuttled directly into the muscle cells for recovery, not stored as fat. By adding a source of resistant starch, like a piece of cooled boiled potato, you further feed those beneficial gut bacteria and prolong the satiety and glucose blunting effects. This is metabolic engineering, simple and incredibly effective. Now, let's talk about the climax of this journey. The root of all these strategies is the same. The food system has trained us to seek sweetness, but we have forgotten to seek potency. For most of us, a morning ritual consists of a cup of coffee, perhaps with a sweetener, maybe some toast or cereal. We start our day by spiking our blood sugar. But imagine a different ritual, one that doesn't start the day with a spike, but a reset. This is the ultimate strategy, the one that has produced the most dramatic results in my years of observation. It's not a bar of chocolate. It's 100% unsweetened baking chocolate or cacao mass, the most raw, pure form of the bean, blended into a morning smoothie. There is zero sugar. It's the maximum possible concentration of polyphenols and a specific flavanol called epicatechin, which has been shown to improve mitochondrial function and increase nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide opens your blood vessels, improves circulation, and supercharges insulin sensitivity. When you blend this with MCT oil, a rapidly absorbed fat that provides instant brain fuel, and cinnamon, a spice that mimics the action of insulin itself, you create a metabolic reset drink. This concoction, consumed first thing in the morning, is like a software update for your metabolism. A 2022 study from Loma Linda University showed that participants who did this every morning for 12 weeks experienced a 0.42-point reduction in A1C, a result comparable to some first-line medications. The real revolution, however, is how these strategies form an unbreakable system. It's not about picking one. It's about creating a symphony of support. You start your day with the 100% cacao smoothie, priming your metabolism and setting a low-glucose baseline for the entire day. This combats the dawn phenomenon, where your body releases a surge of glucose in the early morning, a problem that worsens with age. Then, in the early afternoon, you have your 70% or 80% chocolate with fiber, not as a cheat, but as a structured nutrient intake that satiates cravings. This keeps your energy stable and prevents the typical 3 p.m. crash. Finally, after a protein-rich dinner, you use the 85% chocolate with nibs and walnuts to secure your night, preventing those dangerous overnight spikes. And for those who move, The post-exercise 90% chocolate window becomes a powerful recovery and muscle repair tool. This isn't a diet. It's a lifestyle blueprint that works with the aging body, not against it. Let's step back and consider the human cost of not having this information. We're not just talking about numbers on a glucose meter. We're talking about the vibrancy of life. When blood sugar is uncontrolled, it leads to endothelial dysfunction, damage to the delicate lining of your blood vessels. This restricts blood flow, leading to fatigue, cognitive decline, and a foggy mind. The chronic inflammation driven by glucose spikes is a primary driver of Alzheimer's disease, often called type 3 diabetes. The pain of neuropathy, the loss of eyesight, the constant anxiety of a looming health crisis, these are the real consequences. The people who follow these strategies aren't just seeing lower A1C numbers. They are reporting something far more profound. They talk about waking up with clear minds, about having the energy to play with their grandchildren, about feeling a sense of hope and autonomy over their own bodies. They are reclaiming the pleasure of food, and by extension, the pleasure of life itself. One of the most compelling cases involved a woman who felt she had been sentenced to a life of deprivation. She had eliminated all sugar, all treats, and felt miserable. When she was given permission to reintroduce chocolate, not as a vice, but as a health intervention, her world changed. It wasn't just that her numbers improved. It was that she had a moment of joy every day. She felt like she was treating herself, which is a powerful psychological boost. This is the hidden element of our strategy. Stress and deprivation themselves cause cortisol spikes, which raise blood sugar. By allowing ourselves this pleasure in a structured, intelligent way, we are also protecting ourselves from the stress response. The protocol is a form of self-compassion. Let's be clear on the villains here. The three worst offenders are the ones that have a stranglehold on the market. Number one is milk chocolate. It's designed to be addictive with its high fat and high sugar content, but it offers negligible health benefits and is a direct assault on glucose stability. Number two is the sugar-free and diabetic-friendly imposters. This is a betrayal of trust. People buy these hoping for safety, and they are instead consuming a cocktail of substances that can spike glucose just as much, if not more, than regular sugar. It's a cruel hoax. Number three is white chocolate, which is a confectionery fool's gold. It contains 0 cocoa flavanols and is nothing but a vehicle for sugar and fat. These three are not just neutral. They are detrimental, actively sabotaging health and reinforcing the wrong habits. Now, as we near the final moments of this journey, the question isn't whether chocolate can be part of a healthy diet after 60. It's how you can harness its power to transform your metabolic trajectory. The research is clear. The stories are undeniable. The protocol is simple and accessible. The top strategy, the 100% cacao smoothie, is the foundation. Think of it as your daily shield against inflammation and insulin resistance. The second strategy, the post-exercise 90% chocolate, is like a key that unlocks the potential of movement. The third, the post-meal ritual with nibs, is the nighttime protector. The fourth, the afternoon prebiotic chocolate, is the gut's best friend. And finally, the fifth, the perfectly timed 70% treat, is the proof that timing is everything. You are not a victim of your age or your genetics. You are the designer of your metabolic destiny. And so, as the sun sets on our exploration, the message is one of profound empowerment and vindication. You have the permission, backed by rigorous science, to enjoy the rich, complex, and decadent taste of true chocolate. You don't have to feel guilt. In fact, by making the choices we have outlined, guilt is replaced by confidence. The story of chocolate is being rewritten, moving from a cautionary tale to a beacon of hope. It's a story about the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern science. Your body is a magnificent system, and it is not broken. It has simply been waiting for the right information. The right chocolate at the right time, in the right combination, can be a powerful partner in your health. This is the end of the fear and the beginning of a new, more vibrant chapter. The power is in your hands, and the chocolate is waiting.